Why do those who smile the most often create the deepest unease? We are told that kindness should comfort us, that gentle words and warm gestures are the proof of safety. Yet, if you look closely, the kindest people often carry a strange aura, one that unsettles more than it soothes. Why is that? Perhaps it is because cruelty reveals itself openly, while kindness hides what it truly wants. A cruel man shows his hand, but a kind man makes you wonder what he is hiding behind the smile. Machiavelli understood this paradox well. Appearances deceive, and the sweetest mask can terrify more than an open threat. This is not about morality, not about good or bad. It is about power, perception, and the shadow of fear. To understand why kindness terrifies, you must step into a darker psychology that most people never dare to see. Human beings are not most afraid of what they can see. We fear what we cannot understand, what hides behind curtains and shadows. Aggression, no matter how violent, is clear. When someone shouts at you, slams their fist on the table, or shows hostility, your instincts know what to expect. Your mind begins preparing defenses, rehearsing strategies, and bracing for attack. The enemy is visible, and in visibility, there is a strange form of safety. But when someone cloaks themselves in constant kindness, smiling at every turn, agreeing with every word, offering comfort without reason, something inside begins to stir. Our instincts whisper, why? What do they want? Why are they being so nice? This uncertainty gnaws deeper than anger ever could. Because anger is a storm that shows its path. But excessive kindness is a fog. You do not know where it ends or what waits inside it. People sense that motives hide behind the smile, and the doubt it creates is far more disturbing than an open display of hostility. In fact, studies of human behavior show that unpredictability creates the strongest fear responses. The brain can endure pain if it knows when it comes, but it collapses under the pressure of not knowing. That is why interrogators sometimes alternate kindness and cruelty. It is the unpredictability that breaks the will. Overly kind people confuse the primal instincts of those around them. Instincts are trained to detect threat or safety, not ambiguity. When someone is too kind, too soft, too agreeable, the mind struggles to classify them. And when the mind cannot classify, it assumes danger. Trust becomes impossible because trust requires knowing what someone stands for. A cruel man may be hated, but he is predictable. A kind man without boundaries unsettles, because no one knows what lies beneath. Machiavelli observed that power often hides under masks, and kindness is the most effective mask of all. It disarms while leaving the heart of its intent invisible. People begin to wonder, is this person harmless, or are they hiding the sharpest blade? That question alone erodes comfort, and the erosion of comfort is the birth of fear. The dark insight is this: the unknown behind kindness terrifies more than cruelty ever could. Cruelty is an enemy you can name, but kindness without explanation is an enemy you cannot map. It is the unpredictability, the hidden possibility of betrayal, that freezes people's hearts. The smile may look harmless, but in the silence behind it, people see infinite possibilities, most of them dangerous. And so, the truly kind are not always trusted. They are often feared, precisely because no one knows what they might do when the mask finally slips. From the moment we are children, society repeats the same lesson: be kind, and the world will reward you. Teachers say it, parents reinforce it, and stories glorify it. The kind hero is painted as the one who wins love, loyalty, and victory. This cultural myth is seductive because it appeals to our longing for fairness. It whispers that if we are simply good enough, helpful enough, and endlessly forgiving, life will repay us with success. But in the real world, this lie is dangerous. It creates men and women who confuse kindness with respect, who believe that being agreeable will earn them admiration. Instead, it earns invisibility. Look at any workplace. The agreeable worker, always nodding, always helping, rarely saying no, is tolerated but rarely promoted. People take his work, take his time, and take his energy, but they do not follow him. Meanwhile, the ruthless strategist, who knows when to refuse, who draws boundaries with steel, is seen as a leader. The paradox is brutal. Kindness without strength does not inspire trust. It inspires suspicion or, worse, exploitation. When someone is too kind, others begin to wonder why. They suspect hidden weakness, a lack of backbone. Or worse, they suspect hidden manipulation, because people know instinctively that no one gives without reason. And so the very kindness that was supposed to win affection ends up breeding discomfort. Instead of seeing a noble heart, people see a convenient target. History itself proves the same point. The rulers who were only merciful were overthrown, betrayed, or forgotten. Machiavelli warned that it is safer to be feared than loved, because love is fragile, built on feelings that shift like the wind. Kindness is respected only when it is paired with the capacity for cruelty. Without that edge, kindness feels hollow. It feels like begging for approval, and begging never earns power. The brutal truth is this: kindness alone does not win. It isolates. The overly kind become outsiders because they are not trusted. People avoid depending on them in moments of crisis, because kindness without strength cannot protect. They are excluded from circles of power because no one follows those who cannot enforce their will. To be endlessly kind is, in practice, to be endlessly forgettable. Society teaches kindness as a cure-all, but in reality it is only half of the equation. The full truth is harsher. Kindness must be edged with strength, or it collapses under its own weight. The agreeable worker is overlooked, the endlessly patient partner is taken for granted, and the overly kind leader is betrayed. The mask of kindness may charm in the beginning, but it cannot hold respect. Respect is not built on endless giving. It is built on control, restraint, and the silent threat that kindness could be withdrawn at any moment. Machiavelli never dismissed kindness. He understood it, but not as a moral virtue. To him, kindness was not an identity to cling to, it was a weapon to deploy. Rulers who endured through chaos were those who balanced fear and love with precision. Their kindness was not endless or predictable. It was calculated, rare, and laced with danger. When a ruler showed mercy, it shocked people into loyalty because they knew it could just as easily have been cruelty. That tension made the kindness powerful. Contrast this with the weak, who seek approval through constant kindness. They smile too much, agree too quickly, and forgive too easily. Their kindness is transparent, a plea for recognition. It carries no weight because everyone knows it is their only currency. The strong, on the other hand, use kindness the way a general uses a well-timed retreat. Not out of weakness but out of strategy. Creates space, draws the enemy in, and sets the stage for victory. Machiavelli observed that when rulers were merciful too often, they collapsed. Mercy without fear bred rebellion. But when kindness appeared in moments of dominance, it magnified their power. Subjects feared disappointing them, because they saw kindness not as entitlement but as a privilege. The greatest rulers gave their people a taste of kindness, then withdrew it, reminding them that cruelty was always an option. That uncertainty made their kindness unforgettable. Philosophically, kindness terrifies because it suggests control. A ruler who does not need cruelty to command still carries the shadow of it in reserve. His kindness is terrifying precisely because people know it could vanish. It feels deliberate, and anything deliberate is dangerous. When someone strong offers kindness, people wonder, why now? What do they want? What would happen if they stopped? That unease turns kindness into power. Even in everyday life, the same dynamic holds true. The leader who speaks little but offers rare praise commands far more respect than the one who flatters constantly. The friend who rarely gives but does so with precision is valued more than the one who gives endlessly. Scarcity builds value. Calculated kindness becomes a currency people fear to lose. The weak reveal their desperation by clinging to kindness as identity. The strong reveal their dominance by using kindness as strategy. One is transparent and powerless. The other is enigmatic and terrifying. Machiavelli's dark mirror shows us this truth. Kindness is not soft. It is sharp. It is a blade sheathed in silk, a gesture that conceals power beneath its surface. And it is most terrifying when wielded by someone who could have chosen cruelty but chose mercy instead. Because in that choice lies the silent reminder: cruelty is always still within reach. A smile is one of the oldest human signals. It disarms, softens, and lowers defenses. Yet, when paired with real power, a smile unsettles more than it soothes. People sense it instinctively. A naive smile, offered without calculation, reads as harmless. But a deliberate smile, placed with precision, carries the weight of intent. It whispers that the person smiling knows something you don't. That is why the smiles of rulers, generals, and seducers linger in memory. They are never innocent. They are weapons. History shows countless examples. A general who smiles before battle unnerves both his soldiers and his enemies. To his army, the smile suggests control, as if he already knows the outcome. To his enemies, it suggests something worse, that their resistance is futile. In the court of politics, a ruler who smiles while listening to dissent signals not weakness but dominance. He smiles because he can. He smiles because nothing said can touch him. In seduction, the same rule applies. The smile that arrives at the exact moment of silence, paired with unwavering presence, draws people in and terrifies them simultaneously. The psychology is simple but brutal. A smile from weakness feels needy. It is a plea for approval, a request for validation. But a smile from dominance feels predatory. It is not asking for permission, it is announcing control. And people know the difference even if they cannot articulate it. Our instincts are older than our language. We sense when a smile is genuine softness and when it is a mask covering sharper teeth. This is why the predator who smiles is more terrifying than the predator who growls. A growl announces danger openly, you know to fight or flee. A smile cloaks the danger in ambiguity, leaving you unbalanced. You cannot tell if it means safety or threat, mercy or cruelty. That uncertainty grips the mind harder than any roar. It is the paradox of kindness. When combined with power, it unsettles far more than aggression. The strong understand this. They do not smile endlessly, like the weak who beg for acceptance. They smile rarely, deliberately, at moments of greatest tension. That smile says, I am in control. I decide how this ends. It disarms and terrifies in the same instant. It communicates mastery over emotion, over the situation, over you. In the theater of power, smiles are never random. They are calculated signals, designed to create confusion, submission, or awe. The weak use smiles to seek safety. The strong use smiles to remind you they don't need it. The predator's smile is the perfect mask. Warm on the surface, terrifying underneath. And it is unforgettable precisely because you cannot decide if it means mercy or the calm before the strike. Kindness and niceness may look the same on the surface, but they are worlds apart in power. Kindness is deliberate, strategic, and often paired with strength. Niceness, however, is compulsive. It is not chosen, it is performed. A kind person gives when it matters. A nice person gives because they cannot stop themselves. That difference changes everything. Niceness is born out of a desperate hunger for approval. It is not an offering of power, but a plea for validation. And desperation, no matter how politely disguised, always leaks through. People sense it. They may smile back, they may nod, but inside, respect evaporates. Because when someone is too eager to please, they reveal themselves as dependent on the opinions of others. Dependence is weakness, and weakness breeds contempt. The overkind, those who never say no, who always bend, are rarely admired. They are tolerated at best and quietly distrusted at worst. People instinctively ask, what do they want? Why are they always so agreeable? Instead of inspiring loyalty, compulsive niceness stirs suspicion. If a person has no boundaries, if they never push back, they cannot be trusted. Because true trust requires knowing someone's limits. Without limits, there is only unease. Manipulators understand this principle well. They weaponize niceness. They pour compliments, gifts, or constant approval onto their targets, not out of sincerity but out of strategy. Their niceness is camouflage. It creates confusion and guilt, pressuring the other person to comply. In time, the target realizes they were trapped, but by then, the damage is already done. This is why niceness often feels sinister, even when it is genuine. Our instincts know it can be used as a mask. Contrast this with authentic kindness. Real kindness is not compulsive. It is rare, deliberate, and paired with strength. It draws respect because it shows control. The strong can afford to be kind because they have the power to withhold it. The weak cannot because niceness is their only currency. And when kindness becomes compulsive niceness, it loses all its value. The brutal truth is that niceness is not neutral, it is corrosive. It rots respect, invites exploitation, and breeds contempt. People may accept the help of the overly nice, but they do not trust them, and they certainly do not follow them. Niceness is seen as a weakness, not a virtue. And in the ruthless theater of power, weakness is either feared for what it hides or dismissed for what it lacks. This is the trap. The nicer someone becomes, the less they are respected. Instead of gaining admiration, they lose authority. Instead of building trust, they inspire doubt. And the more they give, the more invisible they become. In the end, niceness does not protect, it exposes. Fear thrives in shadows, not in the open. What people cannot see unsettles them more than what is obvious. A cruel man who shouts, threatens, or strikes exposes his weapon. Everyone knows where they stand. They may hate him, but they understand him. But the man who smiles calmly, who offers nothing but soft words and gestures, is far more difficult to judge. His weapon is hidden, and it is precisely this concealment that breeds unease. People instinctively fear motives they cannot read. When someone is consistently kind, too kind, questions begin to rise. What do they want? Why are they so agreeable? What's hiding behind the smile? This ambiguity makes others cautious. It is not the act of kindness itself that unsettles, but the uncertainty of intent. A calm face may conceal chaos. A smile may disguise calculation. And the more hidden the intent, the more powerful the fear. Stories throughout history and fiction echo this theme. The too kind neighbor, always polite, always smiling, who one day is revealed as something monstrous. The shock comes not from the crime itself, but from the contrast between the mask and the reality behind it. That is why betrayal cuts deeper than open hostility, because it exposes a darkness that had been hidden behind the mask of friendliness. The mind recoils not only from the cruelty, but from the realization that it was there all along, invisible. Machiavelli understood this power well. He warned that appearances deceive, and that those who hide their true nature hold a sharper advantage than those who reveal it. The ruler who smiles while hiding the iron fist terrifies more than the tyrant who rules openly with fear. Because in the first case, no one truly knows when the mask will slip, or what it will reveal. The tension of not knowing is worse than the certainty of cruelty. This is why kindness often unsettles rather than soothes. A cruel man announces himself. A kind man leaves room for suspicion. People fear the possibility of hidden darkness behind calm smiles. They sense that beneath the soft exterior may lie sharp teeth. They wonder, is this real? Or is this just the mask? The insight is brutal. Kindness terrifies not because it is false, but because it leaves the question unanswered. And fear grows strongest in unanswered questions. It is the unknown that chains the mind, not the obvious. The cruel man may be fought or resisted, but the kind man cannot be anticipated. And anticipation is what human beings crave. So when someone radiates endless kindness, they inspire not admiration but caution. The mask whispers to everyone around, what if this is only the surface? What if beneath this calm smile waits something far darker? It is that whisper, unspoken but constant, that makes kindness more terrifying than cruelty. Most people see kindness as a moral virtue, a sign of goodness in the human heart. But in the theater of power, kindness is not morality, it is strategy. It is one of the most effective tools in the arsenal of psychological warfare. To the untrained, kindness looks harmless, but to the strategist, it is a weapon that bends reality itself. History offers countless lessons. Rulers who wished to disarm enemies often used mercy as bait. A defeated enemy expected cruelty. Instead, they were shown unexpected kindness. The result? Confusion. Gratitude mixed with fear, leaving the enemy off balance. When cruelty strikes, resistance hardens. But when kindness is offered, resistance collapses. People no longer know how to respond. Mercy, placed with precision, weakens defenses far more than violence ever could. The same applies in society. In relationships, workplaces, and negotiations, kindness deployed at the right moment can unmake an opponent. When a rival expects confrontation but receives generosity, they falter. They are caught in doubt, forced to question their own judgment. A gift at the moment of hostility plants guilt. A smile in the middle of anger twists perception. This is the battlefield of perception. Victory does not come from who is right, but from who controls the story being told in the minds of others. Contrast this with cruelty. People can rally against cruelty. They can name it, resist it, and even use it to unify against a common enemy. But kindness disarms opposition, clouds perception, making people hesitate. And hesitation is the space where power seizes control. A man might fight injustice with rage, but how can he fight generosity without appearing small or bitter? That is why kindness, when calculated, is far more dangerous than cruelty. The philosophy is brutal. Kindness is not soft. It is a distortion of perception. It makes people doubt themselves, their instincts, and their convictions. When someone who appears dangerous suddenly acts with mercy, people question everything they believed. When a ruler feared for tyranny pardons an enemy, his reputation grows paradoxically more terrifying, because now no one can predict him. Unpredictability is power. Machiavelli would argue that kindness used this way is more than manipulation, it is domination. It bends the battlefield of perception until reality no longer matters. What matters is what people believe, and strategic kindness ensures they believe what serves you. The weak use kindness compulsively, hoping for approval. The strong use kindness sparingly, forcing others to live in uncertainty. And it is uncertainty, not cruelty, that chains the mind. A calculated act of kindness leaves enemies and followers alike wondering, was that mercy, or a setup for something worse? That question is the essence of psychological warfare. Cruelty may wound the body, but kindness bends the mind. And in the end, the mind is where true battles are won. Power without practice is only theory. Machiavelli's lesson on kindness becomes valuable only when it is used in the battles we face every day, at work, in relationships, and in the silent contests of social hierarchy. The principle is simple. Kindness is not to be wasted. It must be rare, deliberate, and edged with strength. In the workplace, endless kindness makes you invisible. If you say yes to everything, people treat you like a servant, not a leader. The path to respect lies in competence first, and rare kindness second. When people know you are capable, efficient, and sometimes unyielding, a single act of generosity carries enormous weight. It shocks them, makes them grateful, and most importantly, it makes them afraid to lose your approval. They begin to fear disappointing you, not because you are cruel, but because your kindness feels earned, not automatic. In relationships, the trap of overgiving destroys attraction. Constant kindness suffocates, and instead of inspiring love, it breeds boredom or suspicion. To command respect, kindness must come in controlled bursts. A gift, a gesture, or an act of care becomes unforgettable when it is rare and unexpected. Overgiving makes people numb. Restraint makes people value. Scarcity creates weight, and weight creates respect. In social dominance, the same law applies. The most respected are not those who shout or constantly demand attention. They are those who remain silent, composed, and strong, and then, at the exact moment, show kindness with precision. This terrifies more than anger ever could. Anger is predictable. Kindness from the strong is unsettling. It forces people to wonder, if they can be this generous, how dangerous could they be if they chose not to be? But a warning must be made. Kindness without boundaries is weakness. It makes you a target. People will take, demand, and exploit until nothing is left. Kindness with power, however, is psychological warfare. Confuses, destabilizes, and binds people to you. The power lies not in what you give, but in the fact that you could stop giving at any time. This is the Machiavellian twist. People do not fear cruelty as much as they fear the loss of kindness. They fear the moment your warmth disappears, because it reveals that they were dependent on it all along. That realization gives you invisible chains over them. Use this carefully. At work, let your silence hold weight, then reward with recognition sparingly. In relationships, avoid flooding kindness. Make it deliberate, and it will echo louder. In social hierarchies, let others chase your approval, never the other way around. Master this, and your kindness will no longer be dismissed as softness. It will be remembered as a shadow that terrifies precisely because it can vanish. When we look back at the journey of kindness through the lens of Machiavelli, the picture is darker and sharper than what society ever teaches. Kindness terrifies not because it is pure, but because it is unreadable. It unsettles because it hides intent, because it cloaks the possibility of cruelty within warmth. It masks strength because only those who control themselves can afford to give without need. And it bends perception, forcing people to question what is real and what is only performance. This is why kindness, when wielded strategically, becomes more than virtue. It becomes a weapon. It is not the endless giving preached by culture, nor the compulsive niceness that begs for approval. It is the deliberate smile of someone who already holds power, the precise moment of mercy that cuts deeper than violence, the rare gesture that terrifies more than threats. The calm smile is not a window into the soul. It is the mask of a ruler who needs no roar. That mask commands because people fear what they cannot read. They wonder what waits behind it. Genuine care, hidden calculation, or the promise of sudden cruelty. This tension binds them more than open force ever could. The weak waste kindness through repetition, trying to earn respect with softness. The strong weaponize it, using it sparingly, so each act carries the weight of mystery. And mystery is power, because it leaves others unbalanced, never knowing whether to trust or fear. Here lies the haunting empowerment. When you master kindness as a weapon, you will no longer be harmless. Your presence will carry the weight of uncertainty. Your smile will echo louder than a growl, and your silence will command more obedience than a shout. Respect will no longer be begged for. It will be drawn to you, bound by the paradox of fear and admiration. People will not know if your kindness is mercy or a signal of something far more dangerous. Master kindness as a weapon, and you will never be harmless again. They will never know if your smile is mercy or the calm before the strike.